The Boyce Thompson Arboretum sucks. The Boyce Thompson Arboretum sucks. I went there a couple of times and every time it sucked. There were a lot of plants there and they all sucked. The butterflies and ladybugs all sucked too. There's a bunch of sucky benches to sit on and a bunch of sucky paths to walk on and a sundial that sucked. And guess what? All the people there sucked. A man named Greg was there. Therefore, Greg sucked. So yeah, I was there, so I sucked too. Usually I'm not sucky, but when I'm at the Boyce Thompson Arboretum, I suck because I can't help soaking in the suck. People told me that place was appealing, but the only appealing thing I ever saw there was the banana in my backpack I brought in for a snack. And probably the only things that didn't suck were the succulents. And I don't know who Boyce Thompson is, but I don't care because he probably sucked. And I signed up for a sucky yearly pass because my wife wanted me to, even though the sucky arboretum sucked. So they started mailing me monthly newsletters. And guess what the newsletters do? They suck. Smeks. 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 I don't know what Smeks means, but that's okay. It's real. Smeks are real. I promise you, it's a real word. It has something to do with car wrecks. Wait, no, that's wrong. I'm pretty sure Smeks was something from a long time ago, something large, something from an empire. Yeah, probably the Grizzabline Empire. Yeah, they were tools used during the Grizzabline Empire. Things that were actually very useful back then, whenever the Grizzabline Empire was around. Okay. So it's not a real word, but it's here now anyway. I said Smeks, and you read Smeks. So maybe that's worth something. I used to be so sure of things. I used to look in the dictionary more. I'm sleepy. Hey, remember how my mom put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and an apple in my lunch sack every day? And the apple smushed the bread? Well, she packed me some Smeks one day. They glowed in the darkness of my lunch sack, but then as soon as I opened the bag, they stopped glowing. Smeks don't glow when you look at them, but I know they glow. I know they glow. That glowing gave me courage. And so, for that one brief day, I was an airplane. I was a sunflower. I was a rattlesnake. And I kissed Lizzie Bennington on the lips in the cafeteria in front of everyone. And it was March 17th, 1992. Principal Kinterhalter said it was sexual harassment, but he only said that because he didn't believe in Smeks. By the way, I was king of the prom. Yeah, prom king. That's me. There is a sadness. There is a sadness so deep and thick and awful that only a few people know. And they know it from direct experience, from loss, devastation, failure, guilt, from a bad night's sleep every night, from a constant sickness of which they are ashamed, from unexplainable bouts of self inflicted pain, from a sense that everything they've ever done is ugly, stupid, pointless, worthless. And if you're one of those people, and if you're about to kill yourself, dial 1-800-LIVE-MORE. And there will be a nice lady on the other end of the line who wants to talk with you. She'll sing you a song about a bunny. Have you met my new pet? He is a little bunny. He wiggles his tail, he munches on kale, and I think that's funny. Do you like songs? Do you like bunnies? And if the bunny song doesn't work, she'll read this from a script. Maybe the next life is worse than this one, which really is a good reason to put the gun down. We go to our car and drive to a place that is full of toys. There's so much space and birds that make a happy noise, and puzzles and games and trees. And if you want a treat, there are crackers and cheese for free for anyone to eat. And there's one special spot at the top of a hill. If you climb a lot, be quiet, and stand really still, that's when you can see every part of the sky. Some people don't believe this place is real. I don't understand why. Something, anything, nowhere, forever. A cloud of ideas floating like a sea lion. Mists of malformation, uncontained, dripping over no edges. There are no edges, but it is dripping. Bread dough, the expanding universe, and big, like the ocean to a fish, like the heavens to a bird, like all stories, with blue in it, and red in it, and purple in it, and pink, and brown, the thumb of a rat, the voice of the black man on the corner by the light post, his tear, his cheek, the way she looked at you that night. You got on the crowded bus with a suitcase and a backpack, were driven away, and became nothing. You and I sat and talked once. The bones that make the body. Laughter, laughter. Behind our faces, beneath our feet, wherever we don't look. Tex. Did I ever tell you about Tex? He's related to us somehow. Sometimes he'd live with a woman for a while and then she'd leave crying. Then he'd bring another woman home, her arm wrapped around his skinny waist. In a few days or in a few weeks, she'd leave, screaming. And the poor kids came and the poor kids went. And sometimes the poor kids went hungry. When he moved out of an apartment, he poured concrete mix down the toilet. When somebody parked too close to his truck, he would bash in their windows with a crowbar. There was a time that Tex chopped off the tail of a stray cat. Who knows why? I saw that cat screaming through the street. The doctor told Tex if he didn't quit drinking, he'd be dead soon. But that only made him drink more. I was at the city pool with him once. I saw him sprint to the end of the diving board and jump as far as he could and crash smack into the water, making the biggest splash any of his kids had ever seen. We all swam to the edges of the pool and watched. Amazed, afraid, and entertained. Tex dove like that over and over and over until the sun set, the pool closed, and we all had to go home. The Fall of Icky-Norf, an extract from the Book of Yath. 14 Slecken sweepers full of flapping arrive pundaciously in the mud jack's ships. Needlefish abounding, soaring, crickets shouting, seashore jom-joms dimly understanding on the bliffy shore. Kneeling, looking, reaching to the elders, to the elders, then to the Ratchenblurger himself. The Jom-Jom chief says nothing. He hides beneath his tubal and frantically doodles the story of his life. Hushington worms, the spear-bearing kind, swiver and slive upon the hinky-tinky town, leaving their dust factories desolate. The worms dance, unrestrained from drinking their 3,000 bottles of mad berry juice. It is dusk. The vibrations are terrible. The sweepers storm the shore, Gorthablobbers tucked tightly in their hoshy-toshers. The sweepers begin their sweeping. They kill all the snookers. They kill all the mips. They kill all the yips. They kill all the flower hoppers. They kill all the creatures in goonty suits. They kill all the sandermen who once waved their swashers. They kill all the jabbits. They kill all the yarbits. They kill all the snapper kings. They kill all the snoobs that sell sniffing gems. They kill all the residents of the Hall of Bath. They kill all that breathe. The sea town falls silent. The sweepers move west to the great mountains of Gorth Garlaken. Muddle-headedness. I didn't sleep well last night, but that's all right because my job doesn't require clear thinking. I feel like a ship that's sinking in a black and bubbly ocean. Sinking feels okay, I guess. I don't know. My job does require motion. See, I move this plastic thing over and then push that button, and then I get this other plastic thing and move it over there. And I'm sorry about my hair today. I know it's horrible. Lunch break, eating bread with butter. I wish I had a whole day to sit and read a book. I wish I had a Rembrandt picture. I'd get it out and look. I wish I had the money to dress up and watch ballet. And how I wish somebody would take me to a play I've never seen before, and one that's really long. There'd be a beautiful woman, and she'd sing a beautiful song. I wish I had a million things I know I'll never get. But that's okay. I'm not sad. Not even a little bit. I'll just work and stay right here until I end up dead. And I am thankful for this butter, and I am thankful for this bread. My brother's a liar. We used to play Super Mario Brothers, me and Morris, my older brother. We used to play Super Mario Brothers on the Super Nintendo. We had Super Mario All-Stars, which was like 5 games in one. Super Mario Brothers, the original, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, and it had Lost Levels on there. Yeah, it was like 5 games in one. Yeah, I know that Mario 1, 2, and 3 and the Lost Levels is
4 games, not 5. But I never said that Super Mario All-Stars had exactly 5 games on it. I said it had like 5 games on it. 4 is kind of like 5. It's pretty close anyway. Anyway, so one day when we were playing Super Mario Brothers, which, by the way, isn't that game supposed to encourage brotherhood? And by brotherhood, I don't mean Cain and Abel brotherhood. I'm talking about real brotherhood. I'm talking about Mario and Luigi brotherhood. Their hearts overflow with brotherly love, like a cup overflows with water if you pour too much water in it. Yeah, I know that's a stupid simile, but sometimes I think you're a stupid person. Anyway, one day when we were playing Super Mario Brothers, Morris told me that I could run out of fireballs. You know when Mario eats a glowing flower and then he can shoot out fireballs and they bounce around and kill those flying duck turtle things? You know what I'm talking about? When you eat a glowing flower, a little number shows up on the screen right next to the flower for a second. It says 1,000 and it gives you 1,000 points. Well, Morris said it doesn't only give you 1,000 points, it also gives you 1,000 fireballs. So if you spit out enough fireballs, you run out of fireballs. I probably spent 7 hours trying to run out of fireballs. And then Morris finally says,
Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. You can only run out of fireballs if you play Super Mario Brothers on the original Nintendo, not the Super Nintendo.
Of course, we didn't have an original Nintendo. We only had a Super Nintendo. So, how was I supposed to know if he was telling the truth? One day, much later in life, I went online. I went to a Mario themed chat room. And that's where I learned from Mario Lover 777 that neither Mario nor Luigi could ever run out of fireballs. I found out for certain that their capacity for fireball creation and expulsion on every Mario game, on every gaming platform, was indeed infinite. There ought to be words. There ought to be words when the eternal God causes another baby to be born. There ought to be words when from innocence these children are torn. There ought to be words when a bride is presented to a groom to be married. There ought to be words when dead bodies are dressed, lowered, and buried. And when the new priest sits in the old priest's seat, and when the next chief cuts into animal meat, there ought to be words. Words of the ceremony. Words of the big soul. And after the words, there ought to be silence. Yeah, that's another one of these poems where I wouldn't write that now because it's got words of the big soul. I don't believe in a big soul or that our souls are all kind of like one big soul. Anyway, but I still think is a good one. Anyway, here we go. The rest of your life. Oh, here's another one, by the way, that contains heresy because it's well, you'll see at the end. But actually, this is another one to where it's still poetically orthodox, I would say. Or it's fine. The rest of your life. Adults try to relax and watch TV. They don't get enough rest, but they're cozy with the slight haze that sleep deprivation brings. It's almost like being drunk. They fill up their closets, they fill up their trash cans, they fill up their veins with merchandise.
They tear down their barns and build greater barns. They're nice enough. For exercise, the adults walk their codependent dogs over and over, and they put the food pebbles in the dish, and they put the tap water in the other dish, and they all play fetch until the dogs drop dead. And then they get more dogs. And then the new dogs die. And then all the adults die. And maybe the adults don't go to heaven. And maybe they don't go to hell. Maybe they go to a place with a big TV. It must be love. It must be love that keeps us together, baby. It can't be anything but love. It must be love that keeps us together, because it certainly isn't reason. You sure do drive me crazy, baby. I drive you crazy too. So staying together must be a lovely thing to do. Ironwood and Ocotillo. It's a major intersection of streets named after a cactus and a tree, both of which are native to the area. I think most would agree the names were selected appropriately. See, when I drive on Ironwood, I think of ironwood trees. And when I drive on Ocotillo, I think of Ocotillo cactus. Living things that once dug their roots down deep into the earth, sprouted up, pressed up, grew up into the thickness of summer, waiting like disciples for the arrival of rain, fighting for survival, fighting for every inch of root, branch, thorn, living and breathing and singing their song until those construction crews came along. Ironwood, Ocotillo. Let us remember the vegetation that had to die just so all of us could drive by. But I'm not an environmentalist. I got a wife and kids and a car and a commute, and I got a chainsaw. I'd stop the beating heart of any tree that stood in the way of my livelihood. And I got to drive on Ironwood and Ocotillo to get to my job every day, 30 miles away. Yeah, that's right. I get in my car, step on the gas, drive real far, and I'm happy with things the way they are. Jablork is the name of the troll. Human bodies have funny things about them: joint problems, facial tics, amputated limbs, strange noises coming from within. Me, I have this thing with my jaw. Every morning upon opening my mouth, perhaps to yawn or to yell at the cat, a cracking noise and feeling happens. It's as if a tiny troll lived in there, beneath the wet of my tongue. And to make his living, he mines for gems. And Jablork, the name of the troll, uses trollish explosives to blast through cliffs of rock. In fact, right now, I know. Well, feely, that my mouth, jaw, teeth, and tongue are populated by more than mere bacteria and by more than mere Jablork, but by dark spirits in sparkling costumes who run about making little noises only I can hear. My jaw really does that. Like, I open my jaw really wide to yawn, and like it cracks. It doesn't hurt, but it makes this noise. And I think there's an acronym for that, like called TMJ. I don't know, but um, I should probably get it fixed, but it doesn't hurt. So it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna get it fixed. All right. This next one is called "A Bird Flew by My Window." This poem was brought to you by Wendy's. A bird flew by my window. This poem was brought to you by Wendy's. I was sitting by my window when a bird flew by. It made a small red flash across the sky. You should go to Wendy's. You know what's on sale? The premium double bacon burger. The premium double bacon burger is on sale today and tomorrow, but not the day after that. So you should go to Wendy's today or tomorrow. Actually, you should go on both days. And on both days, you should get the premium double bacon burger. And actually, you should get more stuff there too, like French fries, soda, and a baked potato with sour cream and chives on it. Or maybe instead of a soda, you should get a glass of strawberry lemonade. Or you could get both a soda and a glass of strawberry lemonade. There's nothing wrong with getting 2 drinks. Remember the name Wendy's. Remember that name. Oh, yeah. You have to have the right coupon. If you don't have the right coupon, then you don't get the discount. You can still have the burger, but you have to pay the regular price. So, like, if you have a coupon, but it's the wrong coupon, then you don't get the discount. If you have a coupon and it's the right coupon, but it's the wrong day, then you don't get the discount. If you have a coupon and it's the right coupon and it's the right day, then that would be so awesome. But even if you don't have a coupon, you should still go to Wendy's and buy so many things there, especially the premium double bacon burger. Remember the name Wendy's. Remember that name. Highways, highways. Bum, 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 rum, diddy, dum, diddy, dum. Absolutely, entirely, rip, 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 rip. Hello, Montana. Hello, Wisconsin. Hello, cow. Hello, dirt. And hello, cow. Bum, 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 diddy, diddy, dum. Yipes, yipes, tree, trunk, bark in the face, right smash in the nose. Ha, 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 ha. Hello, cow. Sniff that dirt, you dumb animal. Moo, you mooer. Ha, 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 ha. You dumb animal. Keep mooing. Eat that grass, barbed wire fence. Hello, sun. Hello, toes in the dirt. Where I'm from. I'm from Rosarita refried beans, Mission tortillas, Louisiana hot sauce, and cheddar cheese rolled together on a brawny paper towel, put in the microwave for about a minute. I'm from prickly pears, dirt, Palo Verde trees, road runners, clouds. I'm from swamp coolers, bricks, windows, doors, walls, and the rock I thought was a dinosaur tooth. I'm from Street Fighter 2, Mario Kart, Super Metroid, Super Mario All Stars, Gradius 3, The Uncanny X-Men, and DP7, Displaced Paranormals 7. I am from the Indian painting, always on my bedroom wall, an original oil, a chief in full headdress, turquoise, face paint, lips parted, chin upward, a warrior singing. I am from the church down the street, and the park next to the church, and the elementary school, and the middle school, and the high school just a bus ride away. I am from Uncle Terry, the hunter, potter, and cherry harvester, who worked in the steel mill 38 years. To a 6-armed Hindu idol on display at the Phoenix Art Museum, sculpted by an unknown artist
circa 900 AD. I will not bow to you or pray to you or do whatever it is that Hindus do when they come walking into your view. I will not offer you a sacrifice, and I won't give you respect or even act nice. How can I, when your mere presence is an affront to everything I believe in? You have no real power. Nobody really has 6 arms. You are a false god, an idol, nothing more than the stone from which you were cut, inspiring neither fear nor love in my thoroughly Christian heart. How can you sit there, whatever your name is, some name I can't pronounce and shouldn't remember anyway, but how can you sit there, century after century, sturdy, solid, confident? Don't you know you're a phony? My God is a jealous God. How do you think he felt today as I walked briskly by the European exhibits, casting a few obligatory glances at Jesus? How do you think he feels now, seeing me here, stop at your feet, slowing my breath, admiring your bulk, grace, and symmetry, gazing into eyes that look deep into mine, ancient eyes which look all ways at once? Typo. I tried to become a teacher, so I ended up writing lots of papers in college with the word student in them, such as an educator's primary goal is the learning of the student. But a few times I typed studnet instead of student. Accidentally? Perhaps. But so frequently did it occur that I felt that someone, somewhere in invisible land or unlikely land, was trying to get me to see something, to know something beyond myself. Studnet. What is it? A metaphorical net for catching attractive men? Lacey considered her eyeshadow a stud net. That makes sense. A construction term? You better get them nails all the way through that stud net. That makes sense too. No, it was none of these. Stud net was nothing. No, it was worse than nothing. Indeed, it was a negative something. It subtracted from the things that were actually things. You are my cuddles. You are my cuddles, and I just want to cuddle, and maybe later we can cuddle because you are my number one love muffin, like a lemon muffin, maybe, and you are my number one love muffin forever. And one of the great things about you is how you kind of really are a muffin. Well, not really, really, really a muffin, because you are actually a real lady, lol. But have you ever thought about how you are like a muffin for real life? A muffin is wonderful, and you are too. A muffin is sweet, and you are too. A muffin is hot, and you are too. I love muffins. Blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, whatever berry. But I would forsake a million muffins before I gave up you. To Pearl from Edgar. I'll love you in the nighttime. I'll love you in the day. I'll love you still in 50 years when our youth is gone away. I'll love you in the bitter cold. I'll love you in the heat. And I'll even love you, Pearl, if we end up on the street. I'll love you when you're healthy. I'll love you when you're sick. My love for you will burn and burn like the flame of a candle wick.
I now profess to you my love on this pivotal Valentine's Day. Though if you tell me I should go, I'll quietly walk away. But if you love me too, Pearl, or are willing to take a chance, then let me stay with you a while. I'll show you real romance. The following words. I can't remember the guy's name, and I doubt I could find him today. I wish we could have a reunion. Reunion is the wrong word to say. How can you reunite with a guy with whom you were never united? He was just a guy who sat by me in 10th grade when I was short sighted. We were all short sighted, except for him. It was a social studies class, a bad one. And at 14, I was already jaded, tired, ready for life to be done. One time, I was probably bored. I asked him what he was doing in his notebook. He showed it to me. Drawings, poetry, renewing. The word for his notebook is renewing. They were direct poems, sincere, written out of love for Jesus Christ, written without a trace of fear. Fear of those who kill the body but are not able to kill the soul. He was a disciple unswayed by any public opinion poll. Tonight, I miss that guy, and I miss his notebook. And so tonight, to honor him and to honor his God, I offer the following words. Praise be to God, for he is just and true. Praise be to God, who makes all things new. Praise be to God, the friend of me and you. Praise be to God. Praise him is what we must do. Streaming content. Pictures and corresponding sounds flow like a stream, down from an I mountain or down from an E cloud, down to my electronic device. It's a movie that seems like a dream. Moving sounds, moving pictures, and soothing sounds that cover me like a shroud. The experience is less like an afternoon with a stream in the 1800s and more like an electronic night in 2014, and there are no streams and there are no birds anywhere. There's a lot we can do with computers, isn't there? I went to school for a long time, like a really long time, like a long time. I went to college for a long time. I don't have much to show for it, but I wrote this poem about college, and so pretend that this is an entry in a course catalog advertising a college course that you can enroll in. SOS 501, Introduction to the Study of Studies. Samples various studies across the collegiate curriculum, finding presentation and expression in a myriad of modalities through the medium of modules designed with, to, for, through, against telekinetic duels occurring ostensibly through the doings of the occult. Thus will summon the real professor, a textual lightning bolt. Examines and minds, hi ho, it's off to school we go. Glue. We'll be sniffing it extensively on Tuesdays at dawn.
If you oppose on moral or mental grounds the sniffing of glue, then taking this course is not recommended for you. Instead, you should go be a farmer and grow some yellow corn. Or you could be a tailor. You could mend that which is torn. Note, the glue is metaphorical, but the sniffing is not. Spelunks the gamut of hierarchies, patriarchies, nubs, tubs, bubs, stubs, subs, war machines and sandwiches, glubs, reconsidering retirement home politics of exclusion, the forest of illusion, cocoa collusion during bingo, mango and pepperjack fusion, creating real world, slap happy applications of radical ecofeminism, which include the formation of wind chimes from discarded forks. Prerequisites: open heart, open mind, open wallet. Joy and Jackrabbit. Not too far from my neighborhood is the spot where Joy and Jackrabbit intersect. Those are two streets in a spread out residential area outside a subdivision without a homeowners association in this census designated place, Santan Valley, an unincorporated section of Pinal County, to speak of this old and happy land legalistically, which manner of speaking is as cold as the dissection of a butterfly. A lot of people around there have horses. You've probably never heard of those streets, just like you've never heard of most streets. And excuse me for stating the obvious, but there's a lot of streets in the world that none of us have ever heard of, walked on, driven down, or stood on. But I have been to Joy and Jackrabbit. I got off my bike, stood, and looked. Black birds perched on an electrical wire. A rusted out, broken down pickup truck stuck in the middle of a dirt lot. Weeds growing around 4 flat tires. A barbed wire fence sagging. A small house in the distance. A pile of lumber. A mound of dirt. Silence. Sunlight. Octopi. The plural of octopus is octopi. Did you know that? I've never heard anyone say octopi, but then again, I don't hang around aquariums or oceans, but even if I did, I can't imagine someone saying octopi with a straight face. But just a little bit ago, I was browsing the dictionary, the part with the words that start with oct, and there it was, octopi, the plural of octopus. It sounds like a really big pie. It sounds like 8 pies put together. I'm so hungry I could eat an entire octopi. I could see somebody saying that. I wonder why it's tentacles rather than tentaci. I think it should be tentaci. If it's octopi, it ought to be tentaci. Octopi have tentaci. So the other day I was in a rock shop in the metaphysical section where crystal healers buy their stuff. And a sign there said, notice, rocks not guaranteed to work. I like that rock shop. I like rocks. They are solid and they are silent. Sleep. I like at least 9 hours every night and a 2 or 3 hour nap every day.
after a long, slow lunch, a hot and sloppy sandwich, whole milk in a big cup, a sleeping pill. And during my lunches, I like eating alongside warm, blurry people, comfortable figures, muttering softly, describing to me their dreams of strolling through meadows or drifting in sailboats, calm as clouds, around and around in a foggy sea. Some people don't like the fog, but I do. There's a fog that accompanies sleep, and a fog on the doorstep of every day. When I'm clear brained, alert, when all five senses cut into me with their knife blades, I do my best to relax and recall the fog waiting behind my bedroom door, loyal as a dog. Silly emotional teenagers. They think their vernacular is spectacular, that the latest trend will have no end, that their hairstyles are so cool. They distribute a flower every hour, professing a love's fire which supposedly will never expire, sticking awkwardly shaped noses into grocery store roses, pressing two painted lips to the petals of periwinkle tulips, communicating wanton agitations by way of carnations. And in the reelings of their putrid, pubescent feelings, they think they alone hold the answer to war, poverty, cancer, and that the solutions to all spiritual pollutions reside in the ever pumping blood of their ever thumping hearts. Ha! As if all it took to fathom the deep, deep night was a spasm. Oh, I suppose their peculiar customs are a bit endearing. And since no alternative to adolescence seems to be appearing, let them live on with their fairy tale telling and flower smelling. And look at me. I got my own problems, man. Though calm and measured I'm often appearing, here now I sit, middle-aged, with sock and mud, smearing. Roadrunner. Why did God breathe life into this creature that suddenly darts across the road, wings displayed as a prominent feature? Wings are such an unnecessary load to place upon the backs of roadrunners. They spend their brief lives bound to the ground. Listen, bird, you ought to spend your summers in the sky, where majestic birds abound. You're like a turtle that won't go in shell, or a giraffe that eats only short plants. You're a perfect nose, unwilling to smell. You remind me of men who will not dance, though they are born with every dancing part. They look downward. They have no love for art. Oh man, I dropped my thing again. This little egg shaker thing. It's kind of silly. I don't know if you picked up on this or you saw it earlier, but every time I make that noise, that's how you know the poem is over. Because how are you going to know the poem is over unless I shake that thing, you know? All right, so I was into healthy eating for a while. I'm not really anymore. I mean, I try to eat healthy a little bit here and there, but I wrote some poems that I look back on and they seem kind of judgy. about what people choose to eat, and I really don't care all that much. But sometimes I just get carried away, and I write these things, and then I put them in a book, things like that. Anyway, no judgment, no judgment for what you choose to eat, no judgment. But anyway, but in the poem, there's judgment. But coming from me right now in this natural commentary, there's no judgment. Don't worry about it. But anyway, this one is called Sardines and Sauerkraut. Sardines and sauerkraut. A lot of people don't like sardines and a lot of people don't like sauerkraut, but if you put them together, then, well, you probably still won't like it. So I guess you can go back to snacking on cheese puffs and chicken nuggets. But is that really how you want to live your life? Listen, I care about your microbiome. I want to fertilize your intestinal flora with probiotics and mysteries so that the song of life may be sung more fervently by your belly's bacteria. Plus, I really do kind of like sardines and sauerkraut. Just try it. Ingredients: a jar of sauerkraut, a can of sardines. Directions: put contents of both containers into your favorite bowl. Mix, smile, eat. Retirement planning. When I get really old, I think I'll live over there in Gulf View Estates, a place nearby where senior citizens go to relax when they retire, eat up their food before it expires, walk their small dogs, look around for their cats, host yard sales and try to sell hats, rise in the morning along with the sun, and head to the golf course looking for fun. If I move over there 30 years from now, first I'll hire a landscaper and tell him how to arrange my rocks and cactus in the yard. I'll watch that young man work really hard. Then I'll thank him and smile and shake his right hand. I'll pay that man generously and have him understand that I respect him, that I'm grateful for him and the labor he offered to me, a senior citizen. Then I'll sit in the yard, look on it with pride, and when it gets hot, I'll walk back inside, and there in my house, in an air-conditioned room, I'll notice, through a window, my prickly pear bloom. That's the way I'd like to live on some far-off distant day. But life has its phases. I am young, and I have work today. Renewal. So you've squandered your musical potential, flunked out of some fancy private school, pawned an expensive Christmas present, burned every book your father sent, and here you are sitting in this bar trying to look tough. You're a prodigal son, but you're not hungry enough to head back home. That's what I think. Hey, buddy, can you buy me another drink? Honestly, I wouldn't go back to your parents' place. They sound like snobs. You'll always be a disgrace to them. Forget the reference to the prodigal son. I think you're cool. You want to be an electrician? Propinquity. Is not now a noun of renown, nor has the populace formally donned the word with a crown of popularity, opting not to pull
propinquity from its obscure nook in an obscure cave. But today I saw propinquity in an old poem written by a dead person, a passionate and tender woman, judging by all these poems she left behind when she died. Poems overflowing with propinquity. And off to the dictionary I went to find out what it meant. It means closeness, as in, I long for the propinquity that attends the primitive community. And why can't there be more propinquity between one and infinity? And I support propinquity in the abstract and here in poetry. But please, Dad, get away from me. Overheard at Circle K. Franklin, hey, Franklin. Dave is dead. Linda told me. Linda said he had a heart attack yesterday. It was sudden, it was quick, and now he's passed away. I really liked Dave. He was my favorite cashier. Isn't it sad to think that he won't be here tomorrow or the next day or ever again to buy us candy and say we're living in sin? Dave is gone. Do you understand? Franklin, will you please hold my hand? He never reached retirement. He never got his wish of living next to a river and catching 1,000 fish. That'll be us someday. That'll be me and you. I only hope you'll marry me before our lives are through. Poem for Jesse and Mickey on their wedding day. Most days, most people do some ordinary thing. They attend school or work or spend it looking at a television. It's true. Most days bring with them not much worth remembering. But today, my friends, is not one of those days. For today is the day that generations will praise as the day Jesse and Mickey decided to walk through life's maze side by side, hand in hand, hearts ablaze. Remember November 22nd, 2014. Jesse, this was not a day you fixed somebody's air conditioning. And Mickey, you didn't manufacture a single movie screen. Today was your wedding. What a happy, memorable scene. Now, Jesse and Mickey, go live a beautiful life. Jesse, be a good husband, and Mickey, be a good wife. Have babies and smile. Bring to this world a little less strife. Grow old, grow wise. Escort each other into the afterlife. What's on the bag? They got these things now. Dinosaur-shaped chicken breast nuggets. That's what's on the bag. Big letters. Dinosaur-shaped chicken breast nuggets. And that's what's in there. Brontosauruses, Stegosauruses, T-Rex, pterodactyls. Did you know that the plural of T-Rex is T-Rex? Kind of like how more than one sheep is still just sheep. I didn't know that until today. It was on the computer.
I mean, I knew the sheep thing. Of course, I already knew the sheep thing. I'm like smart. Well, maybe I'm not that smart, but hey, at least I can put food on the table for myself and my wife and my kids. And that food goes in our bellies, and we live to see another day. T Rexes sounds pretty good, though. T Rexes, T Rexes. I don't see what's so wrong with saying T Rexes. I kind of like it. Anyway, the nuggets are microwavable, and kids love them. Love. They chomp and they chomp and they chomp, and then they ask for more nuggets, and they chomp, and then they ask for more ketchup, and they chomp, and then they ask for more nuggets, and they chomp, and then they ask for more ketchup, and now they want more milk, and now they want cookies. And it goes on like that until they want to leave the table and watch TV or whatever. But really, those kids ought to be eating carrots. Carrots are good for the eyes. And my neighbor has these orange light covers on the outside of her house, on both sides of her garage door. You know what I'm talking about? Light covers. They're shaped like pumpkins. It's almost Halloween. They work like lampshades. Yeah, those plastic pumpkins work like lampshades. I'm looking at those pumpkins right now, and they change the color of the light. We certainly live in unusual times. Now I'm looking around at other things. Walking through a desert, stopping to admire a saguaro. Look at that one. Whoa, what a gigantic saguaro. It's massive, it's tall, it's the biggest one of all. Its skin is leathery green, and see the way it doesn't lean, but climbs straight up to the sky? Do you want to know why? Because it's the champion of all cactus. If it was a man, it would attack us. Yes, this one looks really mean. Its stance and gaze are menacing. Well, wait. Now that I look again, it resembles an extra large friend with arms reaching out to hug me. His pokey embrace won't bug me. This might sound insane, but right now in my brain, it'd be joyous to hug a saguaro. It would hurt a lot, though. But so what? The wise have explained. Real friendships don't come without pain. And one day when I'm sad, or if I've been very bad, I can sit down beneath it and think for a minute. Or not think. I'd feel the sweet peace that flows from each vertical crease. And with each inch of its height, with its primal, unquestionable might, this saguaro extends its energy. It confers strength like an ancient deity. Well, maybe I'm going too far. Oh, it's 5. Time to get back to the car. Waitress. This is a poem about a waitress I saw at a diner last night. I didn't talk to her very much because I don't talk to waitresses very much, especially the ones who are attractive. And this one in particular was attractive. So we didn't talk more than we were supposed to. When a waitress like her takes my order, when she says, "Hi, how are you?" Or when she scribbles little circles with her red ballpoint pen in the corner of her paper pad until the ink finally flows, I gotta keep away. I'm married, you see. And I like to say that in my own small way, I keep monogamy going. She was wearing the outfit. a clean white shirt that buttoned in the front, black pants, black shoes, an apron. But with her, the uniform was different. It was the way she wore the clothes, the way they fit, the way she moved. But I don't want to get carried away. I'll just say one more thing. Her hair was red. Was she sad? The smile left her face just before she turned her head and walked back into the kitchen, where she took orders from short tempered cooks and a lazy boss who don't understand her, who don't appreciate her. They just give her orders and then they go home. I wanted to ask the waitress if she liked Elvis Presley, and I wanted to tell her that I had a motorcycle and my name was Hunter. But the only things we talked about were where I wanted to sit and what I wanted to eat and what I wanted to drink. Maybe she mentioned the weather, and all I did was give her my order, and all I asked her for was a hamburger, some french fries, and a soda. A few minutes later, she brought me the burger, the fries, and the drink, and then she looked at me and she said, "Let me know if you want anything else." After the meal, my head felt hot. I found my car in the parking lot. I got inside and drove it home. And this really is the end of this poem because I shouldn't talk about it anymore and I shouldn't think about it anymore. Things that wake me up in the middle of the night: thunder, the phone, screaming cats, cats attacking other cats, dreams, bad dreams, nightmares, my wife accidentally kicking me, my wife flopping over, ghosts, my wife nudging me on purpose, vivid dreams or visions, I don't know which, a stranger crawling into my bed. Okay, that only happened once in college. He was drunk. He thought he was in his room, but really it was my room. Good ghosts, bad ghosts, honking, parties, the train whistling, loud rain, hail. It's too cold. Gotta go to the bathroom. It's too hot. Gotta puke. Crazy cramp in my right calf. Pain, pain, pain. Ambulances, cop cars, fire trucks, gunshots. Okay, not gunshots. I'm in a nice neighborhood. The baby crying, the other kid crying, my wife crying because the kids are crying. Alarm clocks that play music, alarm clocks that just beep. Spiders, beetles, cockroaches, crickets, caterpillars. A sudden feeling, a sudden thought. People asking, "Are you awake?" The thing I like, I messed it up. The thing that I like about poetry is, the thing that I like about poetry is, I can do whatever I want and I can write about whatever I want. And now I want to write about myself and the way I feel about myself and the way my feelings feel about myself. And I, myself, dedicate this poem to myself. And I can put semicolons wherever I want to put semicolons. And you can't see me sitting at the keyboard typing this poem about myself, but I'm dressed up like a tiger. And in fact, I really am a tiger. And people can't make an entire stanza out of one little conjunction, but tigers can. And if you don't know what a stanza or a conjunction is, then, and I don't even have to finish my sentence or offer anybody a complete and if I want to change subjects whenever I want, and if I want to use the word winsome, even though I don't know what it means. And another thing I like about poetry is I can just introduce a new character whenever I want, depending on how I feel. And he's a goblin, and his name is Perry, and he's winsome, and he's got an enchanted amulet. And Perry's amulet is really small, but it's actually a big metaphor for an even bigger metaphor. And the even bigger metaphor is the harbinger of the mother of all metaphors. Meta Mother Formatron, an entity too large for any of us to fathom. And you'll never see Perry again. And another thing I like about poetry is I don't ever have to go to the library or learn stuff about stuff. I mean, it's so cool. Like, I had this dream last night, and I was a boa constrictor, munching on the marshmallow flavored bark of a tummy tum tum tree. Tubby bonk, tubby bonk. And all those old poets had to rhyme. And all those old poets had to go live in the woods for a while and ponder and sit on a boulder or stare at a stream. And sometimes people ask me, why didn't you pay your phone bill? And I just say, I'm a poet. And sometimes people ask me, why didn't you put the laundry away? And I just say, I'm a poet. And sometimes people ask me, why did you disguise yourself as your father, withdraw all the money from his bank account, and buy 237 exotic rocks? And I just say, you should have seen those rocks. And when somebody asks me what I do for a living, I just look them right back in the eyes and say, I make my living with this. And I point to my soul. And sometimes they say, no, really, what is it that you do? And I just say, I look at cactus, man. I look at cactus. How to make tuna salad. Chop up the carrots, chop up the parsnips, chop up the cucumber. Now do tomatoes, jalapenos, onions. Don't forget the onions. Everything's raw. You can do different vegetables too, whatever you want to do. Open up a tuna can, open up another tuna can, open up another tuna can, and now dump it all in there. It's got to be a big bowl. Now squeeze out the mustard, a lot of mustard, plain yellow mustard, and lots of pepper, lots of salt. Stir it all until your wrist hurts. It's good and it's healthy, and you eat it with a fork. But really, the best way to eat it, hey, are you listening to me? This is important. Do you know how many times I've made this tuna salad? Even when I was sick of it, I made it and I ate it because I didn't know what else to do with my life. Over and over and over again, I was standing in the kitchen alone, and in my hand was a knife. You probably don't even like tuna. That's fine. I don't care. All I was going to say is it tastes good on a slice of bread. Whole wheat bread. And if you want to know how to make the bread, I can give you the recipe, but you have to ask me for it nicely. I also like clams. I like to sit in my house and sleep in my house and water the potted plants in my house, but I don't always like to water the plants because sometimes the spray bottle malfunctions. And sometimes I don't want to walk around to get to the needy plants. Maybe I should replace them with plastic plants. One of these days, I really might do that. I just want to sit down in my house and lay down in my house and enter into other body positions, all of which are comfortable, on various pieces of furniture, all of which are fluffy, as I drift between wakefulness and sleep, sleep and wakefulness. My goal is to become inert. Is that so much to ask? And I don't want to go to work because I don't like working, but I have to go to work so I can pay for this house that I like to sit in so much. And maybe that's how it is for you too. You know what my favorite animal is? The sloth. I also like clams. Most of the time they sit around doing nothing, and I hear they're happy. I want to live in one of those age restricted housing places. I want to live in one of those age restricted housing places right now. I'm only 35, but I'm tired. And I've seen enough of the world to know that I don't want to see any more of the world. And I've worked long enough to know that I don't want to work anymore. They got one by the 60, a retirement community with a big gate. Ironwood and the 60. I see it on my drive to work. I don't know what it's called, but I see it in the mornings, and I see it in the afternoons. Not much traffic there. I mean, Ironwood has a lot of traffic, so there's traffic in the area with Ironwood and the freeway, but inside the place, there's not much traffic. It looks quiet. Well, they probably got the noise from the freeway, but most of those old folks don't hear well anyway, so what does it matter? If freeway noise really bothers them, they can turn up the TV. There's probably some better place to retire, someplace remote, someplace with a stream, someplace where old men sit on porches and whittle, grandkids run around, and everybody goes to the same little white church built hundreds of years ago in some lush green meadow. But I've never seen one of those places. Maybe they don't even exist. But the place on Ironwood in the 60 most certainly does exist. It exists, and they have bingo. I see the signs that say they have bingo. And another sign by the gate says, homes for $40,000. $40,000. That's a good price. They're just mobile homes that never move. Isolation and desperation reign in that place. But still, $40,000 for a house is pretty good. If I lived there, maybe I'd stay in the community center all day, assuming there is a community center. There ought to be a community center. I'd play chess with anybody, and I'd eat candy and get a stomach ache. And maybe I'd get a small dog with one of those leashes that has a button that makes the leash get longer or shorter. And I'd walk around the neighborhood and smile and wear a sun hat and I'd wave. Or maybe I'd be isolated. Maybe I'd stay inside with the TV and the computer and the virtual reality goggles, which all should be incredible by the time I'm 55. Oh, yeah. You got to be 55 to live in that place. Did I say that already? You got to be 55 to live in that place. Landlocked. With quiet feet and determined eyes, a girl with braces borrows a green pair of her mother's pants and tiptoes to the bathroom. The bathtub fills with warm water as she squeezes both her legs down one pant leg. And now that her little ocean has come alive, she flops in, face first, wanting desperately to feel what it's like to be a mermaid. But no, it's nothing whatsoever like being a mermaid. All she's doing is making a big mess in the bathroom. Her splashing, blubbering experiment is failing. She's nearly drowning. It's a bad and dangerous imitation of the state of being a mermaid. Just as punctuation is a sorry substitute for the soft sounds of human breath. I want money and more money. I want money and more money and beauty and fame. And when I walk into a room, I want everyone in that room to look at me and be just a little bit afraid. But whenever I'm with people and there's mingling and wine and jazz, I'm the stranger, not the mysterious stranger, not the man who steals the gold from the safe or charms the heart of the princess or stabs someone to death or anything cool like that. No, I'm only the stranger who stands by the wall for the whole night and doesn't say much, or sits in a chair somewhere for the whole night and doesn't say much. And it's the same chair for the whole night. And it's not even a comfortable chair. And my hair, like the rest of my appearance, is forgettable. And somebody else gets to be the superhero, and somebody else gets to be the sidekick. And when the potted plant crashes to the carpet, I'm the guy who goes to get the vacuum. And it's not even a good vacuum. It keeps getting hair jammed in there around the spinner brush thing. It doesn't have one of those new guards that stops hair from getting wound around and around the spinner brush thing. I want one of those new vacuums with a hair stopping guard. I saw it on TV. I think I'm going to buy one. I think I'm going to go to the store and I think I'm going to buy one. So I'm the guy who gets the vacuum. I'll probably be the guy who gets the vacuum forever. That's okay. Nobody has a problem with the guy who gets the vacuum. But some night I'll have a dream. And in that dream, I'll be an emperor or an angel with a flaming sword, or at least a lion. The lady on the bag of raisins. She's got a bonnet. Remember bonnets? Where did they go? And why does her appearance excite me so? She's happy. She makes me happy. Really, my day was kind of crappy, but then I found this bag of raisins and I saw her. A woman surrounded by sunbeams, her head tossed back, pink lips slightly parted, brown hair curling playfully down her shoulder, her clean white blouse billowing a bit in the wind, and in her hands she holds a basket of grapes. Listen, the lady speaks. Do you want some of my grapes? You can have some of my grapes. Or should we wait until they're raisins? What should I say to her? What do I say to this woman who so suddenly entered my life, offering me grapes and sunshine? Should I tell her of my strife? How I run into the fields alone? How the doves fly away, but the black vultures stay? Would it give her a fright if I portrayed myself right? How in the dark of night I claw at the dirt until my fingers hurt, and how I curse at the sky, but can't explain why, and how I just want her to hold me while I cry. No, I don't want to scare her away. So instead, I say, sorry, I don't mean to stare.
I just really, really like your hair.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired. But don't worry, there's like only only about 10 more pages left. I don't know. I can't believe I'm doing this whole thing. And if somebody watches this entire thing, then you get I don't know. I don't know what you get. All right. Anyway, this one is called On Being Given a New Notebook for My Birthday. What good is a new notebook if I have nothing good to write? I try putting forth profundities, but I end up sounding trite. And what good is my voice if I have nothing good to say? It may be better to work in silence all throughout the day. No, silence makes me crazy. Somebody's got to say something. And listen, I'm a somebody, so here's my something. Thanks, Mom. You're nice. I wish I had a stalker. I wish I had a stalker, someone who cared enough to stand stalwart on my street, even when stalking got tough. In the dark and in the rain, there would my stalker be, with a telescopic camera behind my neighbor's tree. Speaking of my neighbor, what's he like? I don't know. He says hello so quickly, and then he has to go. My neighbor barely knows me. What kind of love is that? I'd rather have a stranger take notice of my hat. I'm like a professor. I went to college for a long time, like a really long time. And I went to all those classes and I taught at a college too. So now I'm like a professor. I taught people about feelings and I made them write about feelings, lots of different feelings. Mostly they talked about how they were mad, really, really mad, mad at society and other societal things. Some of the essays were really long, and I usually never even read them, but nobody cared because I just gave them all A's and then they shut up. Like their essays were going to change the world anyway. I was the first hipster ever. I was a hipster before anybody else was a hipster. Long before the label arrived, I was there, being hip. Back in high school in the spring of 1992, when everybody else blasted 93.7 KRQ, I dug 91.3 KXCI, community radio, and I listened to jazz on my stereo. I know you probably don't know what those radio stations really mean, what kind of stuff they play, or what I'm trying to say. But so what? I'm a hipster. On obscure references, I'm keen. I had this burnt orange t shirt with a faded raccoon on it. It was a pen and ink raccoon spread across my chest. His beady eyes looked out, right into the eyes of any onlooker. And there were many onlookers. I have no idea where the shirt came from, but it fit just right, tight but not too tight, and it was mine for a long, long time. Do your clothes have mysterious origins? Well, my clothes have mysterious origins. All my apparel emerges from fog. The first day I wore it to school, I was like Kendrick McGarland stepping onto stage at the 56th Avenue Club.
I was like a painting by George Yorpenshire Jr. from his purple phase. I was like the opening paragraph of the seventh chapter of Regalia by Badger Harmon. I was like Crunkcore before Crunkcore was even called Crunkcore. In other words, I showed my brain to monkeys. Anyway, I'm not really a hipster, and I never was a hipster. I was always more of a napper. I was only lying to get attention. Hipster, dipster, flipster. What's a hipster anyway? Okay, now we're all sick of hearing the word hipster, and we ought to move on to things more fruitful. We ought to move on to jazz. I really do like jazz. Do you like John Coltrane? June. Look, the calendar. First, there's a J, and then there's a U, and then there's an N, and then there's an E. And when I decipher, all of a sudden, wham! The appellation of the timely demarcation congeals squishingly in my soul, and I breathe out dark mutterings into a shadowy bottle. But I give you the key to the bottle. A key. Yes, a key most metaphysical. The key that fits the periwinkle padlock on the underside latch, hooked with a whistle to the furthermost S-curved sloped rim protruding from the five-pronged stabilizer shaft, conjoined with the rear-mounted XGS assembly, equipped with 17 phosphorescent subtract post-psych cardriactical boom rays. See diagram 3, figure 2, appendix 1, that keeps the bottle locked. And no one can ever touch the bottle or talk about the bottle. And it's really important that no one touches the bottle. No one. And now it is June. June the 24th. Now, here, this is a prelude to the deep night. The deep, sweet night that, though future, presently thrusts itself upon my second sight. In the nighttime, a badger will be at my window. He'll chew through the black-rooted bush, scratch the glass, make a noise most badgery, grumble harsh and low. Yet it is not a badger at all. Only a conniving baboon dressed as a badger. Impressive. Ah, now I see you, standing in your naked power. You phantasm baboon, summoned by the sorcery of June. You cunning month, you sly June. How does it feel to be disrobed? My daughter said hi to a bird today. I was sitting on the purple bench a few hours ago, feeling sleepy, doing nothing except thinking about money and my failures. Yeah, I was thinking about money and my failures. I was sitting there and I kept thinking and thinking about money. And I kept thinking and thinking about my failures. Then a bird landed in the driveway, and my 4-year-old daughter said, "Hi."
I said, "Did you just say hi to that bird?" And she said, "Yeah." And she giggled and ran off and kept playing. Productivity. Hypno is the name of a Pokemon, a big yellow creature that hypnotizes people and Pokemon with his haunting, majestic eyes. Haunting and majestic. Yes, haunting and majestic for sure. But not as haunting as Haunter, and not as majestic as Majestro, and not as for surely as for surenth. Oh, I have admiration for the Admiral, all right. La 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 la. All the angels, all the anglers, half the Alabama archers, la 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 la. Sound the alarm with a lullaby charm. Let's get together and test the weather. The cranes will wear cotton and the crows will wear leather. Samantha is a rotten child, a nymph, a spider. Her name isn't Samantha. She's an imperialist imp, an industrialist insider from Indiana's insipid slopes. But she sure professes her prowess. She spits perfectly panda. She panders to the pow pow pandas. Give a sweet girl a hand. She'll have us understand. Plant your land plants on my land forever. Planting landly, slap handy plants forever. Plant, plant. Samantha, a genetic, chemical, molecular, atomic panda. Samantha, a bionuclear electromagnetic panda. Power nuzzled by hydros. Her electrical circuits transvaporize all pandas. The panda pounces, viper like, pouncer like, into the steam engine wilderness and begins to sniff out a teapot with a handle, a teapot with a spout. Whose head will we sever? Whether it is his or whether it is hers, whether it's with Liz or whether it's with Spurs, with the instruments of the future, that is to say, through the instrumentality of futuristic instruments such as bombs lathered in lilac-colored bomb sauce, we shall uninstrumentize the future. Power of the eagle, speak deeply into the ears of my trick talk, tick tock, talking tank. Squawk, squawk. The Triforce. I got the Triforce. I'll never play asteroids versus humanoids again because I'm making a political statement. Asteroids would never stoop to that level. By the way, Perry the Winsome Goblin says hi. The improper disposal of chewed gum. Before I was a high school graduate, wearing a cap and gown and smiling for the camera. Before I was a Boy Scout displaying a sash decorated with merit badges. I was a Cub Scout because my mom put me in Cub Scouts. Something happened to me then, or rather, I did something when I was 11 as a Cub Scout that I have never told a single soul about. Something that I want to tell you now that I'm 32. Now that I'm a little more free to live as I please. Now that people and things appear to me to be a bit more clear. My mom really wanted me to get that Arrow of Light award. Because if you get the Arrow of Light award, you also get a patch. It has a yellow right pointing arrow stitched onto a blue background, and the entire patch is about the size of a stick of gum that you chew for a minute or two until the sugar's gone. And then you press the slobbery waste up against the slick underside of a school desk, smirking. You smirk as you press the wad of gum up in there, where the wood meets the metal, even though you've previously been reprimanded by those in authority for the improper disposal of chewed gum. If you get the Arrow of Light award that comes with the patch, then you also get put through an award ceremony where they turn off all the lights and you slowly walk up the steps of a miniature staircase that lights up with each successive step you take, while a well-intentioned man with a microphone talks about what a great little boy you are and about how the straight and true arrow on your new patch represents the straight and true manner in which Cub Scouts live their straight and true lives. My mom really wanted me to get the Arrow of Light award that comes with the patch, so I had to observe insects and identify leaves and learn the difference between a standard screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver, which are all good and proper and worthwhile things. But there was this one patch called the Physical Fitness patch, and it was a required patch for the Arrow of Light award. And so for 30 days in a row, I had to exercise and write down how many sit ups and push ups and jumping jacks I did. I started the process, but I never finished. And I told my mom that I did finish. And I remember fabricating a document because mom wanted me to get that Arrow of Light award, and mom wanted me to get that patch, and mom wanted me to go through with that ceremony where I stood in front of everybody with a smile forced onto my face, and everybody looked at me and everybody clapped. So I lied. I lied. I told a rotten lie to my dear, sweet mother. And I climbed those steps, and I let that man with the microphone keep talking about straightness and keep talking about truth because I was only a boy. For years after the ceremony, every time I saw that patch on my scout shirt, I was reminded of the secret that I dared not tell. I was reminded of the counterfeited exercise chart. And I knew that I was a crooked Cub Scout. I knew that I was a deceiver. And yet, I now perceive that I had also been deceived. I was led to believe that the worth of a boy was ascertained by the number of patches he had obtained. Is it any wonder that on the day I left my parents' house, I threw away all my scout stuff to make more space in my suitcase for Bob Dylan CDs? October, Arizona. After she says the weather's nice, and after the other lady says, yeah, the weather really is nice, they talk about other things, and the light fades and the light fades more. And then they mention the weather again briefly as they both walk back to their own houses. I've heard people say the weather's nice a million times, but I want to hear it again, especially now, in October, in Arizona, in San Tan Valley, on my street. There's nothing like the agreement, the simplicity, the shared experience that October brings. There's nothing like giving voice to the way we feel about something so primal, so universal. There's nothing like the acknowledgement of the air that surrounds us and the wind that presses against our bodies as we talk and move and breathe at the close of another day. We're not in this thing alone.